Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Mayer, the STEM teacher from Nassakig, and I want to introduce to you your work for this week, which is to create your own board game. As always, when we do a design challenge, we're going to use our engineering design process to guide our thinking. So we'll be asking, imagining, planning, creating, testing, improving, and possibly sharing our work. The first thing we need to talk about is our criteria and constraints. Criteria for this design challenge is you'll need to make a game board. Your game should be between 2 and 4 players, so you'll need 2 to 4 game pieces. You should have a clearly marked start and an end. You should have a way for players to move, either rolling the dice, spinning the spinner, pulling a numbered card, and you do need a list of your game rules. The only constraint for this design challenge is that you can only use objects that you have or objects that you find. You cannot buy anything new for this project. For day 1, our engineering design process will allow you to ask and imagine. So you're going to be asking yourself, what is the purpose of my game? How did the players win? And imagine what kind of board games you like. What makes them fun? What will your game look like? How will your game be played? Think about some of the games that you really like playing. They could be as simple as Chutes and Ladders, where there's a beginning and you have to get from the beginning to the end. And there are obstacles in the way. You could be sliding back to the beginning or sliding back down a few levels, or you could be climbing up and getting much further ahead. A game like Sorry, where you have to go around the board and you have to be the first one to get all of your pieces around the board and get back home again. Think about the games that you like. What would you like your game to look like? Day 2, we're going to begin planning and creating our game. So plan what the board's going to look like. Plan what the game pieces will be. And you can start collecting your materials for your game board and your pieces. But remember, you can only use things that you have or things that you find. So you could use as simple as a piece of paper for the game board to draw on. Or maybe your family's had some deliveries to your house and you have some cardboard that you could use. If you can't find either of those things, perhaps you have a game that you could just flip over and use the back of. As far as the game pieces go, you could make it as elaborate as crafting something out of clay or as simple as finding different coins. You only need to have between 2 and 4 game pieces. So you could use a quarter, a nickel, a dime, and a penny, and those could be your game pieces. Maybe you're going outside and going to the beach and you find different rocks that you could use. Maybe you have one white rock and one pink rock and one piece of beach glass and one sparkly rock. Those could be your 4 different pieces. It's whatever you have or whatever you find. You don't have to make it elaborate. Simple also works. Day 3, we're going to work on creating. So remember to look back at the constraints and criteria, and remember that you're only using materials that you have or find. If you can't find something you need, maybe you need dice or a spinner to move your players from one stage to the game to the next, you can reuse something you have from another game. Maybe you have dice in a different game that you can pull out, or maybe there's a spinner from another game that you can use in your game. Be thinking really carefully about how your players are going to get from the start to the finish. How are they going to move from place to place? Will they be spinning? Will they be pulling a card, telling them how far to go? Will they be rolling the dice? Day 4, we're going to test. This is a fun day. Your job is to play your game several times. Ask someone in your family if they will play it with you. And you're going to be asking yourself these questions as you play. Is my game easy to understand? Have I made it simple enough for it to be fun, or is it too complicated? Do the rules of my game make sense? Are there any rules that I want to change or anything that I need to add? Is my game fun? And on day 5, we're going to improve and we're going to share. These are our last steps. So you know from all of the work that we've done in class on design challenges that improvement is the most important step of the engineering design process. Really think about how your test went when you played the game. Is there anything that you could make better? Try to think of one improvement that you could make. And then sharing. If you go to the link, you can share a photo of your game if you'd like. That's entirely up to you. Have fun, boys and girls.